Heartbreaking story out of Florida where an 18-year-old mother was accused of soliciting to have her 3-year-old son killed. This was through a parody site. The parody site actually reached out to police and she has been arrested. So let's dive in and look at more details in this case. Hi everyone, Empowering True Crime Alex here, and this case happens to be in Florida, which is where I'm at. So it's not in national news because it's crazy. So I'm going to read a couple of articles here and share more. And I went online and looked at the court information, and so this is just bizarre. And but I was able, because I did a little more digging on this case. There is some additional context that I'd like to also share with you so that we can have complete information for this case so far. And fortunately, the boy is fine and he is with relatives. So before we dive in, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, make sure to join the empowering family. Let's be the empowering voices for the voiceless, missing persons, survivors, and others who can't speak for themselves. Okay, so let's dive in. First article I want to share with you. Miami mother tried to hire hitman on parody website to kill 3-year-old son, says the police. And a Miami mother is facing charges after police said she went onto a parody website to request a hitman to kill her toddler son. According to arrest documents, 18-year-old Jazmin Paez went on rentahitman.com and requested a hitman. Is it hitman or hitman? Hitman to kill her 3-year-old before the end of the week. The website owner, Robert Innes told NBC6 Miami he receives hundreds of similar solicitations a day. However, this request was very specific. Paez allegedly sent pictures of the boy and the exact location of where the child was going to be. There's some photos from Miami-Dade Corrections. This is Jazmin Paez. And it's important to give context because I'm going to share another article where it says that she actually is, at first I saw that photo and I thought, she's kind of like a, it's a smirk or a smack, she's kind of like a smart ASS. Apparently she has sickness and she actually doesn't have control of part of her face, which is why she looks like that. So, it's important that we, at first I was really mad and then I saw that article and I'm going to share that in a minute here. But just not defending her at all. But, it's important that we have information, complete information before we make our judgments, right? We don't want to be judged. So it's important that we get that complete information before we judge others. Not always easy, believe me. Okay, so Ein said the website was once for a cybersecurity company, but over the years, he's received random requests for services. In April, an Air National Guardsman was arrested for allegedly using the website to apply to be a hitman. Many other requests are people seeking fake services, but Paez's request looked too real, he said. The ability to research names and addresses and verify the intended target lived in a particular address, that to me is a red flag. If that information is corroborated, to me, that is something that needs to be looked at, and that's why I referred it. Now, the dad has spoken out, and he's going to share more about Jazmin's background. It says here, my daughter is not a monster. Dad defends mom accused of trying to hire hitman to kill son. According to an arrest report, Paez offered $3,000 and even sent photos and an address of where her child would be. Police said the child was living with her grandmother at the time after Paez became a mother at around 15 years old. In an online form, Paez allegedly wrote she wanted to have her son killed to get something done once and for all. Her extra request was to be taken away, far, far, far away, and possibly be killed, but ASAP. Once Paez's request came in, the website owner contacted Miami-Dade police, who arrested her on charges of soliciting murder and unlawful use of a communications device.
Well, here to the story that we've been talking about, the young woman accused of hiring a hitman to kill her 3-year-old son. Well, she's out on bond tonight, and her father is speaking only on 6 about the serious accusations she's facing.
Let's get to NBC6 reporter Christine Colon joining us with what that and Miami-Dade police have learned, Christian, in the wake of this very unique and troubling investigation.
Yeah, the father told us his daughter needs the medical attention. As for Miami-Dade police, they admit there was a delay in this case just because of how unique this story was, but they point out how quick a detective was put on the case, and eventually there was an arrest. 18-year-old Jazmin Paez walked out of jail without saying a word, but her dad speaking out, saying there's more to the story.
Ella es una niña que nació con problemas.
My daughter is a little girl who was born with health problems. She has liquid retained in her neck. She had 12 surgeries. She lost the ability to move her face. She's been bullied in school. They called her the monster.
En la escuela le decían que era un monstruo.
Police say Paez went on a parody website to seek a hitman to allegedly kill her 3-year-old son. That website owner called police to report it. Robert Inez tells us he called Miami-Dade non-emergency number 3 times, but they referred him to Crime Stoppers. However, on that third call, that's when a detective was put on the case.
Because of the fact that it involved an online allegations. So that's what caused a little bit of a delay when he made him call a couple of times. But then once they were able to get a grasp on exactly what he was referring to and how this is playing out, that's when that call taker passed that information to the on-duty supervisor at our communications bureau.
Tonight, police admit there was a delay, but say they arrested the suspect in hours.
Communications Bureau has been in talks with us all day because of the fact that this is so bizarre, where we can utilize this now and create a best practice because of the fact that simply because you run into something that's a little bizarre and it's the first time you run into it doesn't mean you'll never run into it again.
And police say that 3-year-old was living with his grandma at the time because of how young Jazmin was when she had that child. Tonight we are learning he is safe conditions. DCF is now investigating this whole thing. As for Paez, she has a court hearing coming up next month. We're live at the Miami-Dade Police Headquarters. Christian Colon, NBC6 News.
Now, I did watch that it was so strange that the judge even was a little confused. Let's see if we can find that.
Ivan, thank you. Now at 11, a developing story. A South Florida mother is in jail tonight, accused of trying to hire a hitman to kill her own child.
CBS News Miami's Gabrielle Arzola joins us now with the disturbing details.
It's a story that doesn't seem real. An 18-year-old mother wanted to kill her 3-year-old son, so she goes online and tries to hire a hitman from a website called hireahitman.com.
She went on a website to hire a hitman.
18-year-old Jazmin Paez faced a judge Wednesday after investigators say she tried to get her young son killed. Her actions even shocking the judge.
What? To kill her own child? To kill her own child? I didn't get that far.
According to the arrest form, investigators say Paez sent an email to the folks at rentahitman.com, which is a parody site. But the only man you'd see behind the screen is Bob Innes, who isn't a killer, but instead an IT specialist.
It amazes me at the number of requests the website gets on a monthly basis. It's shocking. It's scary.
He has dedicated much of his life to helping authorities and tells me many of these emails are pranks, but some requests, like Paez's, ring a very different tune. Investigators say her email read, the murder had to be done by Thursday, and she, quote, wanted to get something done once and for all, adding that the child needed to be taken, quote, far, far, far away and possibly be killed, but ASAP, with a photo of the toddler attached. One neighbor, too scared to go on camera, tells me she never saw the Paez family, but says she's mortified with all this happening just a few doors down.
Que son cosas que nunca yo he visto.
I've never seen anything like this. To do something like this, what could be going through her mind? She's so young. Now, the good news here is that child is safe tonight, but Paez has been charged with 2 felonies, one a first-degree murder and the other of unlawful use of a device. I'm Gabrielle Arzola, CBS News, Miami.
Okay, so here I am on the criminal justice online system for Miami-Dade County, and it says that, look down here, she was arrested on the 18th, on July 18th, and she is no longer in jail. She was released on bond. Here it says $5,000, but at first freaked me out because I already thought $15,000 was too little. But it's actually $5,000 and $10,000, so a total of $15,000. She had a surety bond, which was issued yesterday, the 20th of July. And there is a hearing scheduled for August 17th. And it says here hearing type A. I think that means A for arraignment, which we'll get down there in a second. And her charges soliciting first-degree murder, and use of a communication device. And so we look here down in the docket. This was kind of interesting. It says there's an affidavit for indigent status, so she went for indigent. And so it's interesting because I believe her child is living with the grandparents. So maybe she filed for indigent because for that reason, like she's kind of on her own. Okay, so there was a waiver of pretrial conference. There's a demand for a trial by jury. The notice of discovery, intake prosecutor was assigned, acknowledgement of appointment and written plea of not guilty. So she pleaded not guilty. There's an arraignment hearing scheduled for August 17th, starting at 9 a.m. And here is the bond for one of the charges of $5,000 and then another bond amount of $10,000. So that was the $15,000 total. Now, again, at first I'd been reading that online and people were saying, why is it only $15,000? And I think if I had to guess now, understanding that she's sick or that she has had a lot of health problems, maybe that lessened the severity. Perhaps, maybe she has some other issues just besides physical health. Maybe she has some, mental health issues as well. And it says here there's a stay away order, pretrial conditional victim. That to me sounds like maybe she isn't. I'll do a little research now in a second, but that to me sounds like she is not able to see the victim, which would be her son. So there's a stay away order, I guess, until at least the time of the arraignment or the trial. And current bond, a first appearance bond hearing, that happened on the 19th. And then she was appointed a public defender. And so that is all we have so far, the information that we have so far. Let me do a Google search on this. No contact with the victim order as a condition of pretrial, right? Okay. So that is what that means. No contact with the victim order as a condition of pretrial release. Got it. So on top of the bond, she cannot have any contact with the child. So it also says here, as a condition of pretrial release, whether such release is by surety bond, which she got, or recognizance, all defendants in criminal cases must refrain from criminal activity of any kind, refrain from any contact with the victim in the defendant's case. This no contact order is effective immediately and enforceable for the duration of the pretrial release or until modified for the court. So again, she cannot contact her son. That includes communicating orally or in any written form, either in person, telephonically, electronically, or in any other manner, either directly or indirectly through a third person with the victim, it's a little bigger, or any other person named in the order. If the victim and the defendant have children in common, at the defendant's request, the court may designate an appropriate third person to contact the victim for the sole purpose of facilitating the defendant's contact with the children. This does not prohibit an attorney for the defendant, consistent with the rules regulating the Florida bar, from communicating with any person protected by the no contact order for lawful purposes. Having physical or violent contact with the victim, so it's prohibited to have physical or violent contact with the victim or any named person or his or her property. It's prohibited to be within 500 feet of the victim's or other named person's residence. That's interesting. Even if the defendant and the victim or other named person share the residence. Okay, so I don't think that's the case here, but I'm not entirely sure where she lives. So I'm assuming if she lived in the house with the grandparents and the son, that she would have to find another place to live. And she's prohibited from being within 500 feet of the victim's or other named person's vehicle, place of employment, or specific or specified place frequented regularly by such person. Okay. So that is the no contact. So that's the latest that we have on this case so far as of the time that this is published. So the next big thing on the court docket is the arraignment on August 17th. So I'll definitely be covering that and see if there's any other information that comes out. But, it's good to have at least the context that she has health problems, because nobody else was covering that until her father was interviewed and shared that background on her. So yes, I think everybody keeps saying this is a very unique case, and it does seem very unique set of circumstances here. I'm so glad that she ended up, it was on a parody site, not a real site. and that the son is safe. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you learned something today, I'd appreciate if you hit the thumbs up. Let me know if you like me covering these types of stories. And also if you want to join the Empowering Family, being Empowering Voices, community of like-minded people who really want to give a voice to the voiceless, missing persons, survivors, and others who can't speak for themselves, then I appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. All right, everyone, with that, stay safe, stay thriving, always follow your intuition, and make sure to keep it empowering. Bye. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you.